Alrighty, hello, buddy, and welcome back to Sparx's 2-key event presented by Joke. We are now at the penultimate match of the weekend. It is going to be Mahiru-No-Yo versus Dinki in what will hopefully be a very exciting matchup. Another pretty close seeding tie as well, 14 versus 19. We've already seen a couple of upsets this weekend. Let's see if we can keep that train rolling, perhaps with a couple more fireworks as well. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in commentary booth once again by none other than Sunny. Sunny, how you doing?
Hello, Sparky. I am doing all right on this Sunday, evening for some. For us Easter, for me as an Eastern, it is in fact the evening, and yeah, you are correct about those seedings. They are very close together. And hopefully we have seen a trend of sweeps. I was informed by our streamer that we've had, theoretically, we could have had 8 sweeps in a row, but I believe one match involved a disconnect in which gave the opposing player a point, and it was the only point they got that entire match.
Yeah, I mean, strange things can happen, and it'll be interesting to see how these two players stack up against each other. And right now, looks like they didn't get the memo. They've doubled the key count, but I mean, to be fair, it is a warm-up, so so long as they agree to it, it's allowable. But I mean, to be fair, for the 4-key warm-up, you can get both your fingers warmed up without having to smash your preferred key all that much. So
yeah. And also, just giving a little bit of an insider's note for the players, Mahiru-No-Yo has actually been one of the more well-rounded players that we have actually been seeing throughout this tournament. They actually, like, their highest difference between placements in qualifiers is 2, and that's 14th and 16th.
okay.
On the hybrid pick and the LN pick in qualifier stage.
Very nice. So pretty average in terms of, like, basically being right in the middle of the pack in terms of where the results were. So I mean, it could be pretty interesting if Dinki, like, punches above their weight with regards to the difficulty being toned down a little bit, maybe brings them back into the equation, maybe not as physically demanding of some of these picks, particularly like the LN and the hybrids. So it'll be interesting to see what they bring to the table here, especially if they decide to, like, duke it out on some of the easier picks, like Rice 1, LN 1, or LN 2 rather, come to mind for potential picks.
Yeah, and on the other hand, Dinki actually having a pretty standout performance in their qualifier run. They placed 13th on the LN pick for the qualifier stage, while the rest were all either 19th place or 20th. So Dinki having a slight better performance on that long note side of the pool, so I would not be surprised if Dinki mainly focuses their attention on that more lower half of the pool, on the more LN/hybrid base of the pool, while Mahiru-No-Yo would probably just go for whatever they feel is best for them.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. It looks like we're getting the second warm-up for Dinki here. It'll be interesting to see if it's a 4-key or a 2-key warm-up, and it looks like they found something that's 1 second under the time limit. That's allowable.
Oh,
4-key.
That is not a 2-key map.
No, but thankfully it is under the time limit, so won't be too bad. By 1 second, yes. What is it? They have hit us with a technically it's not over the line.
Yeah.
We love technicalities, but
this map is very interesting, actually. This is a loved map, actually. This is a pretty old map, too, as you can tell by... you can actually tell by the link. Less digits means it's old.
Yeah, one of the first 100,000 or so, or at least in terms of difficulties put together. But it's enough about the map itself. Going back to the match at hand and trying to predict what these players would want to do. It'd be interesting to see if either of them go into something like the SV pick, maybe practicing something off the wall here, off kilter in terms of what they might be used to in terms of the regular map pool.
Yeah, SV would actually be very interesting because that's, I guess, technically speed, I guess, would fall under Rice since it's mainly pure Rice, but SV is the only, I guess, skill set that wasn't really featured in the qualifier round, so it's kind of just oddballing, like, whether did you practice SV or did you not, and I have next to no background info on either of these players. On what, you know, if they have a history of learning SV, doing extraordinarily well at SV, or they are an SV hater and just ban it whenever they have a chance to.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, especially with only one on the table. But if they do go into it, I mean, this one feels like the most approachable that we've had in a hot minute with regards to going into it blind for like a round of 32 pick. So hopefully they give it some love. It has been one of the more popular picks in this pool.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fan favorite for these matches, SV1. Definitely for its more simplicity as well. Like I said last match, you take a good 10 minutes into the editor playing a certain section to kind of get the flow of it, and then you've practically got the map nailed to a T, because realistically there's only really one pattern you really have to learn, and it's just those teleports.
Yeah.
The only other section I could really see are those slow jams that do happen at frequent occasions, but it's just as long as you can read slower scroll speeds, or you do what some people do, and like I sometimes do this, and like put your kind of make a little lane cover, kind of block the top field of your play field so it looks like it's not slow jam.
Yeah, they come down a little bit faster. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that, if the players take the time to learn it, it could really prove to be invaluable here. So be interested to see if either of them decide to go into it, or if, I mean, as Brent usually tells us with regards to previous iterations back in the 1-key days, it's just going to be removed and we're not even going to have to think about it.
Yeah, it's either going to be, I'm willing to bet it's either the first map that gets played or immediately sent to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah. As for the other potential ban, I could just see Hybrid 1 getting removed. It's been like the de facto least played map so far this weekend. Few players have taken a swing at it when it gets left up, and outside of the top seeds willingly going into it, it's basically just been removed at will.
Yeah, it is not the most forgiving thing in the world, especially seeing how there's next to little breaks throughout that insanely hard map. It's also on the faster side too, 170 BPM. Of course, not the fastest map in the pool because of that speed pick that I believe is 230.
230,
I think.
Yep. Yeah, I can confirm that it's 230.
We are done with the warm-ups, and it's time to get into the rolls.
Let's see who has practiced the rolls, of course. Purely a game of skill. 89 for Mahiru here, so see if Dinki can outperform that. 84! Not that bad, but not going to be higher in this instance. But, I mean, pretty close.
Very close indeed. And that means Mahiru-No-Yo will be getting the first pick of the litter, but Dinki will be opting for that first ban. So are we going to see No Rush gonna see a race 3 ban, which honestly, I think is plausible, honestly. That map has definitely slipped up a lot of people, especially those long jacks with the doubles that are kind of hidden in there. And there it is, the SV ban immediately being sent to the Shadow Realm.
I'm sad. I'm very sad
So-
now.
And Hybrid 1 remains on the map pool board.
Alright, well, they can throw down there if they would like. They do have the immediate. I was gonna say they can't ignore it, but no.
Whoa!
Alright.
So we're just flipping the script, I guess.
Yeah, we're just going to go like just completely balls to the wall in terms of overall difficulty. This is by and far the hardest normal map in this pool in terms of technical skill, in terms of physicality skill, and they're interested to see how these two players perform. If Dinki can stack up to Mahiru in terms of overall performance, we could be in for quite a bit of a show, potentially an upset as well. But it is going to be Mahiru's first pick. Both players are ready. We're going to get on into it, not wasting any time.
Yeah, they basically just took the script from our hands and slowly ripped it in front of us.
Yeah.
Is basically what this pick is saying.
No reservations. We're just going right into it. Just rip the band-aid off.
Jumping in, both players nailing what I would argue as probably one of the hardest sections of the map. Mahiru finding an early drop, but these accuracies are extremely close in favor. But Dinki, now as the map starts to settle in, as that 400 combo cap is applicable to the player, that accuracy is going to start to regulate at that 99.2 range. But Mahiru is starting to catch up and is actually now beating out Dinki in accuracy. And this is probably the best spot too. This is the least dense section of the map. And Mahiru, just as long as you don't mess up on those mini jacks, they have reached the 400 combo cap.
Yeah, gonna be able to stem the bleeding just a little bit here, but Dinki doing just enough to keep themselves ahead in terms of holding on to that FC, keeping that miss in the back pocket to work with, able to build up a cushion of about 5,000 points. Not the safest lead by any stretch of the imagination, can still flip, and if they start to drop in terms of accuracy, if it gets a little too out of hand, Mahiru's building up in terms of that accuracy to try and contest 99.5 and climbing. They have started to chip away at this lead to the tune of about 500 points, but they find another drop on the burst!
But they still have the accuracy lead, so it's not really in the worst of hands. That lead could have been worse, but adding 2 misses to the board, that's not going to be the greatest, especially how Dinki is still on a... Oh,
there it is. There it is. Potentially the lead shrinks in half, 5,000 points. Mahiru doesn't have the positioning to really capitalize, but they are starting to trend.
And Dinki missing at the end of the way. This jack section, it almost caught Mahiru, but Mahiru keeps the combo and brings it back in their favor, taking the first point at the slightest of hand.
Sonny, we got to call the cops. There has just been a robbery. Oh my goodness. That was insane. Dinki with a almost perfect performance, finding the drops in the back half, not able to hold on. Mahiru was pulling on that lead the entire way through, and when they saw the opening, I mean, to be fair, they wouldn't have known that Dinki missed, but it just felt like as soon as that drop happened, it was right back in their favor, and Dinki gonna go for Hybrid 2 here, but now the gauntlet has been thrown here. Dinki is not gonna go down without a fight.
Yeah, this already straight, like, we are only one map done, and it's already feeling like I'm watching a grand finals tiebreaker right now. That was a crazy beginning to this match, and now we're starting to settle things down a bit physically wise. Hybrid 2 being the more favorable pick out of the 2 hybrids. This map definitely way tamer but it's definitely way more trickier to coordinate, especially with these graces as well as those mini jacks kind of being in there for good measure, but can definitely be tricky if you misread one badly.
Yeah, it's these transitions where you get these like 3-note gallops transitioning into these longer LN anchors that you can find a bit of discomfort. We start to get a little bit more syncopated with the pattern structure, but still pretty easy to read in comparison to Hybrid 1. Both players managing it very well. There is very little between the two of them, flickering back and forth, hundreds of points as they trade hundreds of a percent in terms of their accuracy. Both of them holding on to their FCs. They are dialed in right now.
Yeah, it's basically a game of tug of war. Although Mahiru does have that accuracy lead, it's only by 0.02 of a percentage as we get into a more rice-based section of the map. Only a quarter left to go, and it is going back and forth. No one is willing to give in. At this point, it's going to be 1-200 that will decide the lead. Maybe even a couple of 300s as both these players stay dialed in. And as it stands, Dinki has a bit more of a formidable lead, but once that lead turns blue, it immediately switches to red. And this final section of the map, it's going to have to come down to when the playfield disappears, and Mahiru, by the skin of their teeth, takes it by 4!
It's by 4!
4!
Are you actually joking me right now?
Oh my goodness.
My God. You cannot get any closer than that.
That is the same number of sanity that I have left after this match. Oh my goodness, what is that? It came down to the ratio.
Yeah, just
and
pure ratio.
4!
Either of them breathe the wrong way, and that flips. That is insane. The level of consistency that both these players are showing right now. And we're going straight to LN1. We are not touching those rice picks. I feel like now that's dangerous territory to go into. Both these players can sharpshoot each other. When you get rid of that release element, the shackles might come off here with regards to their performances. We could see a really low 300 count deciding this.
It might be the same story as what Hybrid 2 is going to be. You are right about that one, but we're going to have to see with Long Note 1. This is Mahiru trying to capitalize off of a break point, and will it go in their favor is the question, as we have seen what happened on Hybrid 2. It is most definitely not safe for any of these players to even just be dropping 300s at this point. But right now, Dinki is finding a lot of 200s as it looks like they are releasing a bit more late than preferable, but there's a drop from Mahiru. But look at their accuracy compared to Dinki. Dinki has found 200s that are soon going to be worth a miss as that lead is slowly pulling back to Mahiru.
Yeah, but Mahiru needs to climb back up to that 400 combo cap. This is dangling on a precipice for Dinki at the moment. We saw it on Hybrid 1 where they held on to that lead, the slenderest of leads, and Mahiru started pulling it back once they recovered. They are in a position to start capitalizing. If they can cross back up that 400 combo cap, we're going to start to see a shrink. It is now under 2,000. It's going to cross under that 1,500 mark before too long. As we approach the halfway point of the chart, it is not over by any stretch of the imagination, but Mahiru cannot afford to find any drops from here on out.
And it's by just roughly 1,000 points as we did get those LNs. And now it's starting to flicker into Mahiru's favor as there's a couple 200s from Dinki. And now Mahiru has the lead by just, I'm willing to say, less than 1,000 points. It's starting to go back in Dinki's favor as they start to clean up their accuracy. It's either Mahiru gets above 99.5 or Dinki gets above 99.1. They have this final quarter to do it, and now Mahiru is starting to cement this lead as they reach that 99.5 barrier. As long as they can keep it above 99.5 and keep things in their ball field, it's safe to say that they will capitalize off of their breakpoint, and Dinki is starting to find a couple more 200s, and Mahiru is looking to take this into their favor. And as it stands, they are currently doing it, and as the map closes out, Mahiru is going to bring things to a match point situation.
Oh my goodness. When it mattered most, even it was a 50, it wasn't even a pure miss from Mahiru. They managed to pull it back. The recovery, unreal from their side. And I mean, if you're Dinki, you're kind of wondering yourself, how are these points slipping away? They're not doing anything wrong. They're putting up some really good scores, but it's the little things. The 200 counts in this one, the misses on earlier charts. If they can just string a couple performances together here, they have a chance to get themselves back in it. Do they chance going for one of these rice picks? We have only seen LN and hybrids so far this match.
It always comes down to the little things that matter. And Dinki kind of being pushed to a wall now. This is their last resort pick. And they're gonna go. Are they saying Rice 1? They're
saying
going
Rice
to
1. They're going to gamble on the ratio.
Alright. Yeah, I was gonna assume, because I see Rice 1 ratio, and then I can sort of make up the word gamble. For the record, I don't speak Spanish, or more or less I can't speak anything outside of my native language, English, and a tad bit of French.
Really geographically locating yourself there a little bit, but regardless. Yeah, it is nothing but a pure ratio gamble. They know the risks of going for something like this, but they do it because they feel like they are backed into a corner now, potentially. But, I mean, this is their best shot. If they can keep this 300 count below, I'd say the margin is below 50 is a safe number to go for. A 200 would be devastating based on these two players' level of performance so far this match.
And I mean, you say that, and this map is probably the safest place to not drop any. Well, that is not saying it's impossible to, because you can see that these trills and these graces are the... Oh, but Mahiru finding an early break.
It goes from that triplet swing into a straight 8, and that straight 1-2 pattern catches them out. And this is Dinki's opportunity. This map is so short. There are so few notes to play with here that 17,000 points, unless they trade it back with a really sloppy miss of their own, this is potentially a gamble paying off in their favor. 99.8 to 99.5. It is firmly in their court. The first real advantage that Dinki has had all match.
And yeah, and even look at that accuracy, 99.8. Their 300 count might be just slightly dangling below 50, but at this point it won't really matter on ratio, as Mahiru found a very nasty miss. Even them trying to claw back this lead, I mean, there is a 400 combo cap waiting for them, but that will be at the tail end of the map. So there's not really enough time. Maybe if this map went on for a few more minutes, maybe Mahiru would have shrunken that lead a bit more, but for now, Dinki gonna finally get on the board for the first time in this match.
Oh, that would have been really close, actually, if Mahiru didn't find that miss. A 63 V1 double S versus 55 and 1?
I think that would have actually tied. I'm willing to say.
I feel like it would have been tens to hundreds of points.
Yeah, I'm saying, because what? I would say maybe 200 is worth maybe, probably, I'm going to say at least maybe like 6.
The math escapes me, but that would have been a nail biter, to say the least.
I know there is a spreadsheet out there that does calculate accuracy, so I might have to punch these numbers in and see
someone would run the numbers for us.
Yeah, I will run the numbers after the stream, and I will post it.
See how close it would have been,
and then I'll say it in the joke server to see how close that was.
Sounds good. But for right now, Mahiru going for LN2, saying to Dinki that they're going to gamble more with LN2 here because we're now in the realm of the maps that are less physically demanding. This one is purely technique. Is your release capability up to snuff? Are you able to handle these short releases intertwined with the longer anchors on the other hand to keep that 200 count as low as humanly possible? Right now, Mahiru up to the task. Dinki lagging a little bit behind with some late releases, some 200s starting to dot their landscape, but they're not out of it just yet. This is another really short map, 1 minute 25 seconds and already almost halfway done. 0.5% behind. It is a 5,000 point lead for Mahiru as they both cross that 400 combo cap now.
And I'm just gonna say I really like these players' mindsets of all the gambling that's going on here.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta take some risks.
As it stands, yeah, exactly. There's always risks in life, and you always have to take risks. And right now, Mahiru having a pretty strong lead, 99.7, but they are starting. Yes, they're starting to find some 200s in this last quarter of the map. That lead is starting to shrink down a bit. But the accuracy difference is... Oh, wait, there's another one! Wait a second!
It's a 10th of a percent.
Hold on a second. One more
releases.
and that... You have to watch out for these releases. Oh my goodness! No way!
They have been apprehended. The robbery from Hybrid 1 has been repaid. Dinki escapes with the last second drop from Mahiru to make it 3-2. They stay alive for one more pick. The final pick in this match.
And they did it on a break point as well. This is Dinki's best time to shine right here. You just stolen a point at probably at the most unexpected time ever, and now you're on a break point. You were down 3-0. You can force a tiebreaker here and make us and the streamer as happy as possible.
Oh boy!
And they're gonna gamble it on speed. Honestly, I think that's what you do in here. Race 2 is really timing heavy and really tricky to nail down to a T. I think you go for the speed pick.
Yeah, and they said it themselves at the request of Alemanyo, who I believe is probably watching this match. I never have Twitch chat open, but it's. I mean, based on the reaction as well from Mahiru on the other side, this might be out of their realm of physical comfort. So if Dinki can pull this off, I mean, gotta trust yourself going into this. You never know. It could be a bluff. But regardless, what a penultimate match that we've gotten ourselves into. Two very evenly stacked players.
Here we go, underway with our speed pick. Definitely long jack focused, so it's basically Race 3 on steroids.
Yeah, a much faster version of it. It's really, I feel like it's going to come down to the one-handed long jack streams that come through where there's triplets as well. If the players can handle those isolated sections, everything else is, you can kind of brute force your way through, but those are the ones that require the most finesse. And right now, evenly matched, Mahiru able to keep themselves ahead. A couple of 200s coming through those to try and manage to hang on to their full combos. Both players actually dropping a lot of 200s, but both of them not dropping their FCs as we continue on through that section. It's going to make a reappearance later on, but for right now, 10,000 points to lead for Mahiru as they try to stave off this comeback from Dinki.
Yeah, and Dinki, I think, might have found it worse. They found a lot of 200s, and oh my god, there's a 100. Dinki more or less doing it for the combo now, but more of these trills are coming in. That lead is starting to expand on the side of Mahiru, and we are back with these long jacks, and it is Dinki's handling it a lot better. Oh, never mind. I'm seeing a lot of 100. Dinki refuses to miss.
They are holding on for dear life.
I think Mahiru needs to miss if Dinki wants to force a tiebreaker. And there is still very tricky speed sections of this map. It is not over until the playfield disappears and the scores are submitted. Mahiru,
the hardest sections are done.
But there's still more of these minutes. No, Dinki! And that's it right there. If you already wanted to just add salt to the wound, you just did. Mahiru going to avoid the tiebreaker and going to advance to the winners round of 16.
Oh boy. Oh
Oh
boy.
my goodness.
Staving off the comeback from Dinki. That was, I mean, they have been. I mean, that entire comeback was off the back of gambling. Like, getting the breakpoint was a gamble. Getting Rice 1 was a gamble. Unfortunately, going 3 for 3, not going to be on the cards. Very well played from Dinki. I am terrified of them in the losers bracket, but Mahiru-No-Yo going to be punching their ticket into winners round of 16 for next weekend. They will be going up against
Kalai. They're going to go up against Kalai Pora. And that is going to be a match. And in the losers bracket, Dinki is set to verse Teasel in the losers round of 16 next week.
Alrighty, so only one match left to decide and round out the rest of this bracket. It will be Sleepy Maddie going against Scob in about 30 minutes. I'm gonna shut things down here in the meantime, take a bit of a break. Sonny, you got anything else left to add?
I have nothing much to say, no. And we have been me, Sonny, and Sparky over at Sparx's 2Key event. Goodbye, everybody.
Take care, y'all.